Hello, it's everybody's favourite gold rated tank main coming at you again with another dosage of Overwatch. Today we're going to be discussing 132. Yes, we've done it before, but we've decided to do it again now that we've been able to play through and actually see how Blizzard have decided to do this. So let's get this intro out of the way and jump right into it. Alright, so as many of you know, as I say in the intro, I am a tank main, so I have been looking a lot at the tank role in this, and it seems like a change for the DPS, right? Like you add a DPS, but really it is a change for the tanks because so much has changed. Now in the video that Alex did, and thanks to information from yours truly, he believed, and I believed, that they were going to change many of the off tanks into DPS characters instead of changing them into more main tanks, but they decided to make it up. So off tanks are still off tanks, but different, and it's hard to explain. It's hard to see how this would work in a competitive with compositions that are planned and stuff like that. But in a quick play type of scenario, it's been extremely fun. So going over the positive side of the 132 change, there has been a shorter DPS queue, and it's hard to tell how much of that has been because of the changes to the tanks and everyone's eager to play them because tanks are very different and, might I say, very fun to play, even more so than normal now. So the DPS queue has been getting shorter, however, it still hasn't been like completely fixed. You still get times where the DPS queue is 8 to 9 minutes, but I've yet to see the DPS queue top over 10 minutes like I have seen the tank queue. And support, of course, is always quite low. Tank play has been a big surprise. The tank play, I think because of the changes, has made tanks a lot more proactive to play, a lot more, initiate the fights yourself and up their pick potential. And saying as Reinhardt, you can now just step through players with your 90 damage hammer, sorry. It makes it just so you feel like you're doing a lot more damage because you are doing a lot more damage. There are still some issues with that I'll get into later. But overall, tank play has been a massive surprise. It is a quick play type scenario, so this point does have an asterisk next to it. But team comps have been surprisingly fun with this 132. People have been getting very creative, and also I feel like, once again, if it was the main sort of comp of Overwatch, that would not work out. Eventually people will find the comp that works and they'll stick with it. That's how Overwatch works. That's how the meta works. But, it's been very fun to see some ways that they've managed to mix team comps together. And there have been faster team fights, a lot more eliminations per game. All those statistics that you would expect from having triple DPS have gone up in the 132. However, there is some problems. There is some problems with the 132, which is the reason why I think this is an experimental and not a permanent thing. I am still unsure about the tank role. It's fair to say that there are several characters in the tank role who are broken, and others who probably won't get a whole lot of playing time. I mean, not like they're getting much playing time anyway, but characters like Wrecking Ball and Winston, I guess they're both dive heroes, but, those characters probably don't get much playtime, even though Winston is, I've played a couple of games with Winston, and he does work in this sort of scenario because of his extra health. But yeah, tanks like Roadhog and Zarya are just broken at this point. Like Zarya especially, the bubbles thing is just broken. It's fun to play, but terrible to fight against. The 3 DPS has had its drawbacks though. You do get team comps to where you get the Genji, the Hanzo, the Widow all together, and none of them get their shots. I think that's going to happen no matter how many DPS you have, from 1 to 5 or 6 if you want to do that. But of course there have been those issues, and of course having more DPS means you're going to have more of those issues. I also do want to point out that the 3 DPS does allow for some nightmarish comps. You can have a Sombra Sim Bastion, because I've had to fight against that. You can have a Doomfist McCree stun comp, and it's just, you can do a lot of cancerous things with 132. You can have a Boop comp. You can have your Lucio, your Brig, your Pharah, your Ashe. So yeah, there's been a lot of comps that are both fun to play and not fun to play, if you know what I mean. Playing healer has been stressful. It's something that I don't think a lot of people talk about when they talk about 132, because the 2 stays the same. But playing healer, because there is that one tank, so playing healer it's harder. And it depends, of course it depends on what healer you're playing, but healers have been under a lot more stress, I feel like, from the people who have been playing healer. you know, to keep healers alive. And I feel like it means that characters who don't heal flankers well or DPS well, you know, heroes like Lucio, for example, or Brig, playtime would probably go down a lot more. Although you would see, you know, characters like Zen getting played a lot more because there's less barriers and he can heal flankers pretty easily. You know, so there is, you know, different sides to that argument that the healer has been more stressful. But for the healers that you see a lot around, you know, the level that I play in quick play, you know, the healers like Ana, Lucio, Moira, this is a thing that's both happened, and I feel like if it was put into place as the actual base comp would happen a lot more. There's been an emphasis on high sustain team comps. Mei in a 1-3-2 comp, again, character that's broken. Characters that have that tanky ability, that ability to work without a healer and sort of do their own thing, have been very successful. I mean, you also see a lot of sniper heroes, so there is a drawback to playing a lot of Mei and Reaper and stuff like that. But the point remains that if you can find a character who can work in a tank-like role, you know, Mei, I'm pointing Mei out because she really fits that DPS to tank role. It's very hard to fight against something like that. And of course, everyone's looking for the new GOATs now that 2-2-2 is in place. You know, teams that want to win want to find a cheap way to win, which is high sustain comps. So that's always going to happen, but in 1-3-2, a lot more Mei, which I think most people will agree is a bad thing. So, and then I've got the positives and the negatives out of the way. I wanted to discuss my thoughts and my feelings. And this is my thoughts. These are not Alex's thoughts. These are not Josh's thoughts. These are my thoughts about 1-3-2. 1-3-2 from a tank main, a Reinhardt main perspective. Stupidly fun. Do not want it as the base comp. I would not mind it if it was like an arcade mode that came around, or even stayed like Mystery Heroes, because it is so stupidly fun for some reason. Like, I've really enjoyed this experience of playing 1-3-2 with all these character changes. If it was comp, if you imagine 1-3-2 in comp, it's just not good. It just doesn't work. I've been playing a lot more DPS anyway recently, so being able to play 1-3-2 is just giving me more excuse to play McCree and Doomfist and, you know, whoever else I feel like playing at that point. But I'm fine with 2-2-2. I don't see a problem with it. But of course, once again, I am playing tank. The main problem with 2-2-2 lies in the DPS. Although I would like to put this out. I would like to put this in video form. I've said it to a bunch of friends. I've said it to a bunch of people at PressPlay. If you're a DPS player, and this is from me to you, if you're a DPS player, I'd say just shut your mouth, because the most powerful team comp in Overwatch history did not involve you. If I'm a DPS player, I'm not saying, you know, oh, it's all about us, you know, you need to cater to DPS, because while they are the majority of the player base, the most powerful team comp in Overwatch history, the GOATs meta, did not involve DPS. You know, your base GOATs did not involve any DPS. And the DPS that were involved, you know, when people started to mix up GOATs, you Mei, Sombra, you know, and that comp was unstoppable. You know, if you got a team that could run GOATs, like, I mean, it was hard to do in, you know, in just random players, but if you had like a 4-stack, you could probably make it work. But if you found a team that could run GOATs, then more often than not, no matter what team comp you used, if you were on a similar player level and they ran GOATs and you ran not GOATs, ruined. So if I'm a DPS player and a comp that's so powerful as GOATs was, does not involve me, does not involve my entire role, I'm not going to be complaining when something like 2-2-2 is implemented, and that's just making sure that there is 2 DPS in each game. At least in the high tiers, I think. Because at lower tiers, you just got like 4 DPS in one game. Which is something I want to bring back. As fun as 1-3-2 has been, I am getting like flashbacks, PTSD style. You know, NAM flashbacks right back to the, I don't really want to say the old way, but like the way it was, yeah, as a tank player. Because I've been playing tank for as long as I've played Overwatch, which isn't that long. You know, especially not comp. I didn't play comp for a long time. And I only started to play comp, you know, I'm trying to think, like season 14, so I was that late. But even still, to see those in gold and high silver and, you know, around that range of like 2100 SR or 2000 SR, to see how many DPS were being played and how many DPS were being played by being insta-locked. Like, players would think that insta-locking the DPS meant that their choice was less egregious against the team, what the team needed. Of course, you always had the low-level Hanzo who picked last. You know, you needed a healer, you had one tank, and this guy goes and picks Hanzo. Maybe he doesn't know how to play a healer, but I think you need to be flexible in that range. Different thing entirely. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We've got roll lock. But, as I was saying, if I'm a DPS player, I'm taking that wait time just because it's a guarantee that I will be able to play DPS without my team yelling at me unless I pick Bastion. It's a guarantee that I can play the role that I want, and I can have relative freedom inside that role to play what I want. As fun as 132 has been, and trust me, it's been really fun, I'm not sold on it being a long-term solution to problems. In concluding this delightful conversation that I'm having about 132, I am really excited for this experimental card, because bringing things like this to the player base and finding the issues that can't be found within internal skirmishes in the company really allows for Blizzard to get a better feel for what we're doing, and to see Blizzard still caring about base Overwatch and how base Overwatch is played when they are working on a project as big as Overwatch 2 and with as much hype as Overwatch 2. This has been really fun and really good to see on the part of Blizzard, who kind of need to make up for what they've done recently. Not going to get into that. So, to conclude this, you know, TLDR of this entire video is, I enjoyed 132, has some positives, but my concerns that I had before it came into play, a lot of them are still there, and I like it as an arcade mode. I would not like it as a comp mode. I think that's what you should take away from this video. So guys, what do you guys think about the new 132 change? Do you think it should be implemented into the main game? Good chance it won't be, but if you saw it as an arcade mode, would you play it? I will give a link to a poll in the iCard above, and let me know if you would play 132 as an arcade mode. Anyway guys, I'll leave you on that note. That's a wrap.